The winter that year was unforgiving, the kind that cut through worn coats and settled deep into your bones. In a quiet factory town where people hurried past suffering, an older man named Samuel Reed walked home from work with a limp earned from decades of hard labor. Samuel had never been important to anyone but the machines he operated. His supervisor reminded him daily too slow, too old, lucky to still be employed. Samuel never argued. He just worked. One freezing night, as he passed a narrow alley behind a closed diner, he heard a sound that made him stop. Not traffic. Not wind. Crying. Tucked beside a dumpster were two children, a thin boy wrapped protectively around his younger sister. Their clothes were torn, their faces hollow from hunger. Samuel hesitated. He barely earned enough for himself. But he also knew what it felt like to be invisible. "Not tonight," he whispered, holding out his hand. That night changed everything. Samuel brought them home to his small apartment, no luxury, just warmth. He fed them soup, wrapped them in blankets, and promised nothing except safety. The neighbors whispered. An older black man raising two abandoned white children? They said it wouldn't last. But Samuel didn't listen. Years passed. The boy, Lucas, grew sharp-minded and curious. The girl, Nina, grew fearless and observant. Samuel worked harder, ate less, and gave them everything. He mended clothes, skipped meals, and endured humiliation at work without complaint. At the factory, his supervisor Mark Dalton despised him. Not because Samuel failed, but because he endured. Because despite everything, Samuel walked a little taller, knowing those children were thriving. Lucas earned a scholarship to study law. Nina discovered a love for journalism, determined to give voices to people ignored by the world. Samuel pinned their letters to his wall like trophies. Then, just as life felt steady, everything collapsed. One evening, Samuel returned home to find authorities waiting. Evidence had been found, company property, and cash hidden in his apartment. Samuel was stunned. He had never seen it before. But his supervisor's smirk told him everything. In court, Samuel sat alone. Whispers filled the room. Thief, liar, a man who didn't know his place. The judge prepared to rule. Samuel lowered his eyes, believing his life's quiet kindness had amounted to nothing. Then the courtroom doors opened. Two adults stepped forward. Lucas, now a lawyer, placed documents on the table. Nina raised her recorder, calm and focused. Gasps rippled through the room. Lucas dismantled the case piece by piece. False reports. Manipulated witnesses. Financial inconsistencies. Nina presented published investigations exposing years of corruption by Mark Dalton. The truth could no longer hide. The judge dismissed the charges. Samuel felt a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to carry this alone anymore," Nina whispered. "Dad." That word echoed louder than any verdict. Samuel had once saved two children from the cold. Decades later, they returned the favor, not with pity, but with justice. Kindness doesn't disappear. It waits.